My next guest is a very, very talented artist. He just dropped a brand new album called Beautiful Blue Collar Boy. It is Baby Jake. Jake, welcome. Thanks for your time.
Thanks for having me. Nice to
How are
meet
you?
you.
Yeah, nice to meet you. How are you?
I'm great. I'm here in Nashville. I'm in my studio. I don't know if you can see. There's a
I
whole bunch of gear laying around. Those are my laundry units wherever they are. Beep, beep. Yeah, I'm getting ready to rehearse. We're playing Somo Festival in Nova Scotia this weekend.
Amazing. I love how we still have these opportunities to have a video call. Obviously, in person would be better, but having this right where you are, where you create music or live or what have you, it gives us a little more insight. It's very clean. It's very well kept. You've been
Well, it's a little dirty right now, but yeah, usually really clean. I mean, I recorded pretty much 6 or 7 songs out of the whole album. I think it was six in here.
wow.
So the drum room is upstairs. You can't see there's wires that go up through my attic to a den upstairs. And then, yeah, I've got a piano over here, a Rhodes over here, all these guitars and some amps and stuff. So a lot of it was done here in the house. And kind of the first time that I dug into, you know, it is the first time that I dug into like being like I'm gonna executively produce this album, myself, which was a huge step and super scary for me. But I learned a lot, and now I'm obsessed with producing and working with other artists and stuff. So
It's got to be interesting as well in Nashville because it's traditionally been known as a country music, beacon and place where that thrives, but it's really expanded and attracted other genres and people have learned the ways, so to speak, of songwriting. What are some of the big takeaways interfacing with a lot of the Nashville songwriters?
yeah, I mean, well, the first crazy thing is that the first guy I ever signed to in music was actually Mark Anthony's nephew. So
Mm.
I was thrown in as the one gringo into this Latin, like everybody was Latin around me. And so I was so engulfed by Latin culture that I really like I fell in love with it honestly. Like to this day, like I would say the two genres that I listen to the most, which is ironic because I don't make either. Well, I make both, but like kind of not really. Not as my professional BabyJake career, but like house music and salsa music and like bossa nova are like my top three that I listen to in my house, which is so funny because it's so opposite of like what I do. But yeah, it was crazy to kind of like grow up. But I'm not gonna say grow up, but I guess grow up in my career sense or my professional life around this Latin culture, and then going to LA and kind of seeing a ton of guys from Berkeley and Juilliard and all these great musicians and players and the hip hop culture and the pop culture, and then finally moving to Nashville and kind of realizing like, wow, this is a whole different ballgame. So I've seen like three sides of it. Even New York, I kind of spend a lot of time. My new indie label that I work with, that this project is getting released through, they're based in New York, so I spend a lot of time there now, and like it's just crazy to see the differences. But I will say, in Nashville, I mean, you'll hear some of the country influence on the album, like Lightning Yellow Hair, is clearly like a country song on the album. It's still my take, so it sounds a little different, but like I will say that Nashville has a very much. I mean, we're just talking about him, Briston Maroney and like a lot of coins here, a lot of other guys that are just like awesome alternative acts, that a lot of people don't know about. Like the Black Keys are here, the White Stripes are here, Cage the Elephant is here, Greta Van Fleet's here, so many awesome alternative acts. So I really hope that over time it just develops into more and more of like this kind of rock city. It's one of the only places that you can still come to and record like, live with a band or whatever. Like they still have a lot of old recording tactics that exist here, which I think is really important to kind of keep around.
Do you think that some of the expectations that were kind of set forth early in your career, especially after going viral with a popular song in
Yeah.
2019, set forth expectations for which you felt a little uncomfortable to achieve?
I just think I was young. And I think I was so young getting into the industry and being from a place, Fort Myers, Florida, where like I came from a normal family, a very great family. My mom's great, my dad's great, but like I didn't really have any money myself. I was very broke myself. And kind of like my whole strategy in music in the beginning was just getting there and being able to do it as a career, which I'm very blessed to be able to say that I can do nowadays because of that. I wouldn't, sorry, excuse me. I wouldn't necessarily say that maybe there wasn't there was some expectation set on me, but there wasn't that many expectations set on me. It was more so that I had to find myself. I really believe in the music and the sound and the things that I'm creating. And I think that I'm in a spot where maybe if I would have started a little slower, besides having a song that just goes viral immediately, that I would have got to experience that. But you don't get to, pick, and I don't regret anything. I think that my early on career taught me so much, being with Republic Records, leaving Republic Records, being signed to Scooter Braun, leaving working with Scooter Braun. It just like taught me so much about how massive things operate in this industry, about what I wanted, what I didn't want. And yeah, actually Scooter never really placed expectations on me. I more so had kind of, I wouldn't even call them issues, but a different, kind of sight about where I wanted to go and where they wanted to go with Republic Records. But I think
Yeah.
that, I was just also so young. I didn't know what I was really doing. I had to just figure it out myself and kind of learn who I was first. I'm still young. I'm 27. So it's like, I'm sure in 5 years I'll be saying the same thing. You know what I mean?
Oh, exactly. Exactly. You mentioned lightning yellow hair just a
Yeah.
little bit ago. It's one of my favorites. I just love the title. First of all, it's just so descriptive. It's a very colorful way of describing,
Yeah.
the thoughts that were going on. I mean, what was going on when you were writing that song?
It's actually hold on, I gotta Google this because I keep messing up the title of it real quick. Oh, 1883. Did you watch that show?
No.
Okay, so there's this giant show that's called Yellowstone
Oh
that's been
yeah.
out for a while. So the prequel was 1923, and then the prequel to that was 1883. So it
Okay.
was the show that I was obsessed with. It's about like it's Tim McGraw and Faith Hill play the leads. So I was like, this is incredible. They're doing an incredible job. And their daughter in the show is named Lightning Yellowhair. So,
Oh.
and she gets named that by an indigenous person that she's kind of seeing, that's a native of the lands. And it's crazy because it's kind of about the Oregon Trail, basically the story of the Oregon Trail and all that. And I was like, literally at the end of the show, I'd never cry. And literally at the end of the show is so emotional because like she got shot with an arrow and all she needed was some penicillin, you know,
Yeah.
because like it didn't exist back then. Like you would think like, oh, I got like a scrape, like I'll just take some antibiotics like nowadays. But back then, like she got shot and they knew she was gonna die. So
Mm.
for 3 days or 4 days, they're like, going through this process and they're trying to kind of like welcome her into the afterlife. But like Tim McGraw's her father and he knows she's gonna die. And it was such an emotional thing that like I had the record, I didn't have the lyrics, but I had recorded that song actually was recorded in this room and upstairs, all live, like the drums, at least the drums, bass, guitar, acoustic guitar, and electric guitar were all recorded at one take, right? All at one
Mm.
time with no click track, no metronome, no anything, right? So when I already had the base of the song, but I was obsessed with the show at the time, and I was like, man, I got to write from his perspective what this must feel like. So the whole story is actually I'm speaking as if I'm Tim McGraw, right, in the show as her father, and I'm basically saying like my daughter's dying, and like born and raised in Tennessee, spent years underneath the gun, blah 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 blah. And by the end of it, like in the hook and stuff, like it's based, I think it's like, so head on up, and I'll meet you, baby. And I'm like talking about her going to heaven. You know what I mean? So it was just that's such a cool song to me, honestly, because not often do I like write about something that's like most of the time it's like pretty personal to me or like something that I'm feeling. But that song was like purely about that perspective. And I just like one day I just hope that she hears it, and she's just like, what the fuck? Like, how one day one of them hears it. It's like, whoa, that's fucking cool. So yeah, that's what that song's actually about.
Sonically, there is a lot going on. I like the introduction of horns. I mean, it's actually been in your music here and there, of course, but Don't Hurt Me So Bad really is a standout where those are used for emphasis. What was it like putting that together and then saying, you know what, horns would be great here and the thought process and sprinkling those
That
in?
that song, that song's amazing. Here, I'll play it for you how it actually first started. That song is my favorite song. Whoops. That song's like my favorite song on the album, but literally how it first started was just right here because I primarily play guitar, right? But it was just And so I had that on an electric guitar laid down, and my drummer Tim, actually, who's a co-producer on that record with me, we did again all recorded in this house in this room, and upstairs in the drum room. And then I the first thing that came was the piano. Right, we had the piano, and I said, well, he started playing the chords on the piano, and I started telling him, like, what if we just take the guitar off? What if we just take the guitar off and we just make it a piano, like kind of ballad, and see how it goes? And we did that. And I was like, I already had the vocals on there. And I was like, oh, this is beautiful. I was like, let's just strip the guitar. So we took the guitar away. And sometimes when I play it live, I still play it on guitar, but we stripped the guitar away and started to piece all the pieces together. And we just knew that we needed something. Like, I was sitting here alone, just listening to it, mixing it. And I'm like, I need something that's going to make this feel more like theatrical. Because to me, I don't know, the horns to me pull out more emotion than anything else in the song, maybe than even the lyrics of the song. And the song is very like personal song, like, don't hurt me so bad. Here's Tim. Tim, come say hi.
Hello.
Here's the drummer who co-produced it with me.
Hi.
Hey,
Happens to be over here. Say hi to Pete.
How you doing, Pete? I'm Tim.
I'm doing good, man. We're talking about the album and some of the great work that you helped to create.
Oh, heck yeah, man. All killer work on this guy's end. Mixing right now. Jesus Christ.
But yeah, I think what you got to do if you
Thank
do.
you.
I think that when I had the idea for the horns and me and him had talked about it, it was kind of just like, how do we pull out this kind of like hopelessness emotion out of it? You know what I mean? Like this, like, don't hurt me, and horns are such a emotional instrument. And then once I did that song, is kind of like, who's going to change the world, which I love too. And there's horns on that. Like, that came after Don't Hurt Me So Bad. I got really lucky. I met this guy, Red Holly. He's incredible in Nashville. I'm recording more horns with him actually next week. So like,
Oh,
I'm
wow.
always working with him now, because I'm actually working on the deluxe album right now, which I'm very excited about. I'm going to try to add like 3 or 4 songs, maybe five, maybe five. But yeah, it was like such a song that needed the emotion. And originally I was thinking of putting strings on it, but I don't know. I couldn't get him in time. And then we tried the horns and I was like, this is perfect. Like, that was one of those songs. The reason I love it so much is probably my favorite song on the album, that or Ariane. They're kind of tied, but Don't Hurt Me So Bad right now I've been loving more. To me, that's like, it's so special because that was one of those songs where everything just came in perfectly.
Congrats on the album. It's so good.
Thank you.
I really appreciate the time for the chat and best of luck with everything.
Yeah, thanks so much.